you're on social media by now, and you might have seen the announcements of this planetary alignment on January 25th. A bunch of videos and memes claiming that all 8 planets will be in a line on one side of the sun and visible in our nighttime sky. Is it true? No. Why January 25th? We have no idea. But there have been and still are 6 planets that are in the sky, and throughout January. And yes, they're in a line from our point of view, just like always. So no, there won't be a planetary alignment with everything neatly stacked on one side of the sun, but there will be a lot of planets in the sky that you can observe. So the planets in our solar system, they orbit our sun more or less in a flat plane, right? The Earth-Sun plane, called the ecliptic, largely defines the plane of the planets and the sun. So in our sky, the planets always appear somewhat along a line. That line across our sky, the path of the sun and the moon, is just a 2-dimensional representation of the 3-dimensional plane of our solar system. So basically, the planets always travel in a line across our sky. So if there's more than one planet up there, it always lines up with another planet and the moon and the sun. So January 2025, there are 4 bright planets and 2 faint planets in the sky. So they're arrayed in a line across the sky, and I attached a diagram below on how you'll find 2 views of the sky with all 6 planets. The 4 bright ones and the 2 exceedingly faint ones, as seen from the mid-latitude in the northern hemisphere, those are the most accurate. Some of them are complete bullshit, and some people think they know what they're talking about, and they don't. They are showing what that view looks like from the point of view of someone hovering in space over our solar system. So you can see that, yes, the planets in the evening sky are like arrayed across our sky in a line. Planets in our solar system, when they are visible, they are always in a line because they follow the path of the sun, the ecliptic, across the sky, right? Like I said, but they aren't in a line stretching out one behind the other from the sun, into like this 3-dimensional space, like an actual fucking parade. False advertisement as fuck. Like, I keep laughing when I see it. And Mercury isn't even in the evening sky. It was in this morning sky and will be all of January 2025. So can you see 4 planets in the sky at once? The answer to this question, it depends on what you mean by see. If you mean see with your eye alone, yes, you can see 4 bright planets. If you start in the west where the sun has just set, as the sky darkens, you'll spot Venus easily because it shines more brightly than any other star. It's late January, so you can definitely find Saturn between Venus and the horizon. Saturn is sinking towards the sunset, which will make it harder to spot in February. The other 2 planets that you can see with your eyes alone are Jupiter, which will be bright and higher in the sky than Venus or Saturn when night falls, and Mars, which is like reddish and will be rising in the east soon after dark. Mars is nice and bright right now. It's, in my opinion, at the best viewing in 2 years. Yes, I'm a geek with a telescope. I will say this, if you have access to like optical aids, binoculars, or like a telescope, you will be able to see Uranus and Neptune in January sky. Spotting Uranus and Neptune is hard. So Uranus is theoretically visible to the eye alone, but it requires a very dark sky to be glimpsed with the eye. Have you ever heard that saying, like, the light can't shine without the dark? Mm-hmm. So binoculars will show it more easily. And Neptune, no, it's not visible to the eye under any circumstances. Binoculars might show it if you have like super good x-ray vision, but you'll likely need a telescope to see it. Here's the good news. So if you've identified the 4 planets, you can see they trace a rough line from one horizon to the other. And Uranus and Neptune will also be along that line. Uranus is the 7th major planet outward from our sun. It's dim, but you might glimpse it if you have like a really dark sky. I'm in Port St. Lucie, Florida right now, so yes, you can see it right now if you know what you're looking for. In the general vicinity of like Jupiter, so how do I explain this? You'll see like a fuzzy dipper shaped cluster of stars, right? Like a whole cluster. It's called the Pleiades, or the Seven Sisters. Uranus is not too far from that, from where the Pleiades is. Binoculars will really help. If not sure where to look, there's free apps. Sky Gaze. Neptune is the 8th planet outward from the sun. It is dimmer, even more so than Uranus, but it's near some other bright objects now. So, and Venus is bright. Saturn is golden, you know, and on January 29th and the 30th, Neptune will be just a few moon widths to the side of Venus. So where's the outlier? Mercury. While the misinformation churns about the planets in the evening sky in January, Mercury is having a pretty good apparition close to the sun, as always, in the morning sky. That's when you can see it the most. Mercury will move into the evening sky in February, but at that point, Saturn and Neptune will be disparting, and they'll all just kind of pass each other in the glare of the sunset. Technically, by the end of February, all 7 planets will be in the sky at once, but Neptune will be impossible to see because it's so close to the sun. And Mercury and Saturn will be, it's challenging too. So the whole January 25th great planetary alignment idea does have like a grain of truth, but the planets aren't going to be strung out on one side of the other, one side of the sun, one behind the other. You know, could it be true? Could all 8 planets in our solar system, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, make a single line on one side of the sun? You know, the answer is never. There's a fascinating book by Jean Mias, it's called The Book of Mathematical Astronomy Morsels. He said our 8 planets will line up to within 3.6 degrees of the sky every 396 billion years. The sun is currently about 4.6 billion years old and will blow into a red giant something 5 to 6 billion years from now, swallowing the inner planets in the process. So no, we will never see the planets from one line on one side of the sun. No. The bottom line is, you've heard this internet rumor of this great planetary alignment on January 25th. There it is. I'm a nerd when it comes to this shit. Google it. From a reliable source, though, like a fucking NASA or some shit. You know, don't believe everything you see on the internet.